like to call the regular 4th County Commission meeting to order. And at the beginning of that meeting, I'd like to ask Commissioner Thomas if he would lead us in invocation, and Mr. Davis would lead us in the pledge of allegiance. All rise. Thank you.
Father God in heaven, we thank you again, God Almighty, having the power in your hands. Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for those that are here to see about the county's business. Father, we ask that you be in the midst, that you give us knowledge, strength, courage, and understanding, that we do everything pleasing in your sight, we do everything decent and in order. Father, we ask you to also bless those who are fighting in harm's way, that we may very well enjoy this time and able to do this without fear of reprisal. We ask you to give everyone blessing, enlarge our county, and allow us to prosper. We pray in your Son, Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first item of business is the adoption of the agenda. I am going to ask that we add an item under new business, item E, which is consider the purchase of a truck 50/50 with the city for roll-off items from the convenience center that we currently carry in Progress landfill. I'll get more into it when we get into that section of business. I'm going to ask that we delete item 15, executive session. And explaining that, our administrator is currently on medical leave. We thought he would be back. He had some surgery last Thursday, and he's not ready to go back. So I'm going to ask the clerk when we get to that point to handle the items with the administrator in the presentation of the financial items. Any of you have any items to add or delete from the agenda?
So, is that a motion, Mr. Chairman?
I will make that motion.
I'll second.
I got it. Jaycee Landing. Okay. All right. You want to put it under item A under old business? That's fine.
Yeah. What you got?
Item A, be discussion about Jaycee Landing under old business.
I make a motion to add an item to discuss Jaycee Landing under old business.
Well, if you have, how about the Jaycee Landing with the tourism board?
We need to cover either a second for this motion.
I'll give a second for that.
Okay. All right, now we need to go back and vote on my motion.
You okay?
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. All right. My motion was to amend the agenda to add an item to discuss the truck purchase with the city. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Hires.
Yes.
Commissioner McCreary.
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts.
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Hickox.
Yes.
All right, we have a motion to add to old business, item A, discussion of the Jaycee Landing contract. Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Motion.
Call the roll.
Commissioner McCreary.
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts.
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Hickox.
Yes.
Commissioner Hires.
Yes. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, can we also add the other contract we voted on? I mean, right up beneath that one as a B.
The, with tourism board?
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Chairman, I prefer our administrator to be here before we get into that.
We can add it to the agenda and then.
So I need a second.
Okay.
Second.
All right, have a motion and a second. That's good. Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Hickox,
Yes.
Commissioner Hires,
Yes.
Commissioner McCreary.
Yes.
Any other items added to the agenda?
Not that we know of.
Okay. Now, I trust you've all had a chance to look at the minutes from the October meeting. I'll entertain a motion to accept, approve those minutes, as well as the call meeting on October 17th.
I'll make that motion.
I second, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion, second, any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Hickox,
Yes.
Commissioner Hires,
Yes.
Commissioner McCreary,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts.
Yes.
Okay, under presentations and announcements, we have Mr. Bill Schuman to discuss the 2020 LeMig project list.
Actually, Elton's gonna join me on this, and we're gonna pitch it together. The administrator asked us to come before you in order of transparency to show you what we're proposing to do, or we're putting the list together and in the process of submitting it to DOT for their approval. You've got a copy of the list in front of you. I'm just gonna make a couple of general comments and then ask Elton if he'll come up and get more into the details of how we're approaching the LeMig work at this point, because we have made a little difference in our approach on it to try to get more bang for our buck out of it. The main thing I want to comment on, if you look on the second page, on the totals, we get a little over $1 million from DOT for LeMig, and then we match 10%. That gives us approximately $1.1 million. And if you'll note that we're showing a little over $1.2 million in total projects that we're anticipating. And the reason we do that, we have to spend all the money. So we actually go over the amount to make sure we do so, and we can always cut back, if we get too far out of line. And you guys will get the final approval on that anyhow. Once the contract's put together and the bids come in, you guys will be the ones that make the official award on it. So that was all I wanted to say at this point. So Elton, if you want to talk to them about how we got to where we're at.
Some of what I'm gonna say is not new to you. We talked about it in our meeting at the airport and some discussions about moving forward in the future. If you look at this list of projects, you'll see that there's a lot of spot paving included in here. Our big projects, for the most part in the past, have been wholesale resurfacing from one end to the other. Sometimes you've got sections of roadway in those roads that are in pretty good shape that would probably be good for another 5 or 6 years. But we resurface it because we've got a number of failures in that roadway. Well, the way we're approaching this now is to go in and estimate the amount of failed asphalt or near failing asphalt and put together a spot paving list to bring that road back to standard structurally. That's going, and then that road should be good for another 5 years or so before we have to resurface the entire roadway. And could be that we wind up with a situation where we have just a few isolated points at that point that fails, and we may wind up doing the same thing again, spot surfacing. But it's a matter of trying to keep all our roads serviceable. If we wait to resurface, or if we resurface the entire roadway, then we're not going to have monies to keep the roads in the condition they ought to be. We're going to have some roads that are failing to the point that we can't keep them together by patching. So anyway, that's the basis behind the spot paving. Another issue that's been coming to my attention, I've gotten a number of complaints on, is striping. And when we do these projects, striping runs somewhere in the neighborhood of typically about $3,500 to $3,600 a mile. These roads that we're spot surfacing, we're striping, we're going to stripe the entire section. All of those, typically the striping's in bad shape. So we'll stripe the roadway from one end to the other. We're putting patches on it, we're going to stripe the whole thing. So that gives it, makes your road a lot safer with being able to drive down the roadway and tell whether you're on the pavement or not without feeling the bumps. So that's And this list is put together. I ride these roads, I look at them, and by the judgment and experience I've had in looking at roadways, condition of the repairs that's needed, determine which ought to be priority. So that's basically it, unless y'all have questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ellis. Thank you. Refresh my memory, this is the neat project, so we've already voted on, and you're just bringing us up to date on it.
Say again, I'm sorry.
Correct. Refresh my memory, have we already voted on this neat project?
This is next year's would be.
At Jacket Drive, what part of Jacket Drive is that?
Jack Drive, I see.
Jacket Drive.
Oh, Jacket Drive, I'm sorry. That's the entire section there in front of the school. It goes from Joey Williamson back over to Durance Road.
Okay. All right, thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate y'all coming and giving us that. Other citizens concerns, we have none. Public meetings, none. Consent agenda, none. Under old business, item A, permission of materials, discuss Jaycee Landing contract.
I know at the last meeting that we voted on anything, we voted for Mr. Jeffords to go through the concerns that we had for the contract and to address those and get them taken care of so that we could go ahead and get finished with the Jaycee Landing contract. Apparently here recently, he was sent a letter because Mr. Trapnell didn't send us back any kind of information on what needed to be done to make the contract presentable for him to be able to sign it. So we were sent a letter today. I won't get into all of that. But upon talking to Mr. Trapnell, the contract that's there, he is acceptable to it. The only thing that he has a problem with, he would like it to be if there are any significant changes to be made on his part due to the upgrades in the buildings and things like that we requested, that it be brought before the board instead of brought before Mr. Jeffords. And I know we've been working on this contract for over a year, with the one with him for a year, but it's been in discussion for over a year in trying to get somebody down there. It's continually going downhill. I've been down there and looked at it several times. It's getting worse and worse. The bathrooms are going away. We've been trying to get somebody in there, and I'd like to make a motion that if any significant change be brought that Mr. Trapnell has to make, they would be brought before the board instead of having to go through Mr. Jeffords. It's significant changes.
Mr. Chairman, for discussion. I know that that's what we voted on in the last meeting that we had on this. But I know that our attorney has been sort of mediating that contract. I'd like to hear what changes was made or what our attorney recommend, because he's had his hand on that contract. Is that okay, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, I agree. I think that we had a couple of sticking points on there. Counselor, can you explain those points also in the back?
I mean, I can go all the way back to the beginning if we need to, but essentially where we left off at on August 28th, I know we got a letter today that said that we refused our own contract. That wasn't really quite the case as I see it, but on August, I believe it was August the 28th meeting, we had been given a contract. I believe that was a call meeting. I think it was a Friday. I can't remember what morning it was, but right before then, we had been given a brand new contract than what we had typed up and presented them and made changes. And again, I can go back to May where we were told that they were were in agreement with it, this board voted on it with the exception of going out there and inspecting the premises. But they found some things they didn't want to go with on that contract, so they sent us a brand new contract back on August 28th. Based on that contract, we kind of presented it to you just briefly, and it's back in the minutes if y'all want to look at it. Some of the changes that I saw with that contract and the previous versions that we had all kind of agreed on and then sent, and everybody reviewed, and at that point had agreed on. The big things, I think there was 5 issues that really stuck out in everybody's mind once we kind of brought those to light. One of those being that the repairs and the construction to the bait shop there is something that y'all want. The way I interpreted the contract that he had sent, the new contract that he had sent us at that time, was that basically, hey, we're going to do these revisions, and the county repays us at, I think it was $200 a month for the rent, and in lieu of being repaid back for the repairs. Basically, no limit on the repairs in that contract. We had, and the board kind of, what I gathered from the board at that time is the board one of those issues was that the board wanted to kind of keep their hands and kind of, I won't say control what you did down there, but at least be able to have some hand and some ability there to say yes, no, go forward with the changes, we'll pay that bill, etc.
And did you submit him a cap back?
Yes, we had, our last, well, again, we had gone back and forth on all those issues. Back in September, he had sent us a revised one with the majority of the changes. There was one issue that was still outstanding, that was the construction on the bait shop, and I don't have that language right here in front of me, but essentially we had sent just that one paragraph back indicating that I believe it would be, he'd be able to do construction on the bait shop up to $25,000, and basically come in and bring us typically what all the, when a contractor does work for the county, bring us your plans and tell us what, how much materials and stuff like that, just so the administrator could kind of be able to keep an accounting or audit of what's going out there, what's supposed to be out there, and that's proper there. After $25,000, the revision language had it coming back to before the Board of Commissioners, anything over $25,000. We had sent that revised paragraph back, and again, that was the only thing that we really hadn't come to terms with, that everybody thought y'all would be comfortable with and he'd be comfortable with. We sent that revised paragraph to him, I believe, on October the 10th, and had gotten no response back from Mr. Trapnell.
Put it on day, he said he got an estimate for 35, but that's not a sticking point for him on the contract. He could go with 25 and come back to the board if it went over there. Because you can't, anybody's done construction, you go tearing something out, you don't know what you're gonna run into till you get there, right? So he's willing to go with the 25 cap. That's not his sticking point before coming back to us. But have you proposed that number to him?
Yeah, we proposed 25 to him, but again, he hasn't brought anything back. To my knowledge, he hadn't called me, and I've sat down with him at least on 2 different occasions, and I think I sent emails out to all y'all telling you what changes it was. We made the changes to the contracts at that point in time, but to my knowledge, he hadn't come back and said, hey, I'll do, I understand where you're coming from, let's modify this. We've just gotten no response. I think Mr. Jefford saw him in town somewhere, and I don't know where that all led to, but to my knowledge, he hadn't come back to us and said, hey, let's change this, let's agree to that. So
The current
You
contract,
said in the paperwork, it said that any changes will be brought back before the board or will be brought back before Ed.
My understanding was up to $25,000 was,
Up to $25,000 was between him and the administrator, as long as he basically said, hey, we're gonna use 10 boxes of sheet rock or whatever it may be.
Right, we gave him a list of items that needed to be upgraded. That's what the money, just so everybody's on the same page. We gave him a list so that
He
he's
wasn't part of the
ADA,
contract, but
so he's ADA compliant. That's why he's having to spend this money.
that was one of the conditions of the contract, was that he bring the building up to ADA compliance.
Right.
But I'm not not sure if we actually gave, I know it wasn't part of the contract that we gave him a list, but, so basically what we sent back was, hey, anything under $25,000, just essentially, tell us what you need, kind of just let us know about your design. Anything above $25,000, all it was come back before the board and get approval for anything above $25,000.
And that was my understanding as well, that we simply didn't want to give him a carte blanche, open check to go down there and spend $35,000, $40,000. Up to $25,000 we could understand, and especially based on the ADA compliance. Anything above $25,000 we come back before the board.
Well, frankly,
We heard nothing from him other than when he and Ed run into each other somewhere uptown. And had asked him to come by and see me, let's get it worked out, and apparently still hadn't heard nothing from him.
So I've got that language pulled up right now if y'all want to. And again, this is the last thing that we were kind of negotiations about, and this is the paragraph that we sent back. The county and concessionaire have inspected the premises and agreed that the bait shop is in a state of disrepair. Further, the parties agree that the campground is in good and working order with the exception of the hot water lines and open shelter. Concessionaire agrees to provide materials and labor to remodel the existing bait shop. Also, concessionaire agrees to provide materials and labor to fix the hot water lines and an open shelter of the campground. Concessionaire agrees that any remodeling project will comply with all local, state, and federal building codes. Further, concessionaire agrees to have remodeling plans approved by the county administrator prior to any construction taking place on the premises. This approval is only to ensure, for the county's benefit, proper estimating of labors and materials by any contractor or third party. The county agrees to waive any money owed to the county in an amount equal to the invoices for such labor and materials up to $25,000. Concessionaire must have prior approval by a majority vote of the Wayne County Board of Commissioners prior to any amount over $25,000 being paid or refunded to him. Detailed invoices for such labor and materials shall be provided to the county on a monthly basis. In the event that this contract is terminated prior to concessionaire being fully reimbursed, the county agrees to reimburse the concessionaire for the cost of all labor and materials within 30 days of said termination. And that's, again, once we sent that back, again, I don't think it was our premise or purpose there to, tell him how he had to do something or whatnot. But again, we sent that back, and I tried to explain to his assistant there that, our goal was just to kind of monitor how much is spent there and making sure that we kind of got our bang for our buck there. We haven't heard anything back from us since October the 10th, so, to my knowledge.
Well, and just like you were saying with the, that's what it sounds like. He has a problem with the administrator, dealing with the administrator, because this has gone back and I know we've made several things on it. I don't think we've heard anything since we voted the last time to get the things taken care of. I think there was 4 items on the contract that he sent us, that we had issues with, and he was going 4 or 5, I don't know, and he was going to get back with Mr. Trapnell and talk to him about it, and then see if he could work those things out. And we hadn't heard anything back since, if he was able to.
Well, and I will say, we've worked, everything was worked out with the exception of this one paragraph, and that was one of the 5 things that y'all had said that y'all kind of want to keep control of down there, and so that was the other issues have been resolved. We got
the letter from Mr. Jeffers says if it's not signed by a certain date, right, so is that, can I apply by that? There's a contract on the table. That's what
As far as I'm concerned, Mr. Trapnell had a contract in
So there's
place that met all of our requirements and all of his wishes.
I talked to him just a few hours ago, and he has no problem with signing that contract, providing his motion carries.
What motion was that?
That, you want to
That
repeat it?
I'll repeat it again. That any significant change be brought before the board for approval and not gone through Mr. Jeffords. And in reading what you read, partially that says that. But I feel like that he wants to go through us rather than going through Mr. Jeffords.
Well, and just a couple of things of that. I mean, just my opinion, I don't see how that doesn't hold up progress there. Say that, he's got this design, he's got the labor material sitting there ready. Is he gonna wait for the next county meeting to come back up here before y'all and say, hey, this is what I'm gonna do?
We've been going through a contract for a
2
year,
years.
so I feel like we have
Yeah.
groomed his anything when it goes over $25,000.
But if I put substantial change in the contract, without it being clearly defined, it's up to anybody's interpretation.
But as I interpret it, that's the way it reads now, is that anything up to $25,000 he handles with the administrator.
The letter, you read the letter today, correct? And it sounds like to me, and I have not been there with any of the negotiations with Mr. Jeffers and Mr. Trapper, but it sounds like to me, he feels like he's being micromanaged. I mean, we're not negotiating a $10 million contract here. I mean, for Pete's sake, we're looking at $250 a month income for the county, but we're getting out of paying for it, and we'll have a bait shop open that's already there, and we'll also be able to supply the citizens with somewhere to get bait and tackle and things like that. Also a restroom, because it's going away pretty quick.
Well,
Well, I totally agree with you, but I stick to the terms of the contract that we presented to Mr. Trapnell, was that anything above $25,000, he worked with the administrator. He is the administrator. He is the person we have hired to administer our business. Anything above $25,000, I agree, is a substantial change. It should come before us. So I stand with the contract that is currently laying on the desk of Mr. Trapnell, as far as I know. Up $25,000 he deals with the administrator. Anything above that, he deals with us.
Did you say he was ready to sign that contract?
He'll sign, as long, he don't, listen, Ed don't want to be micromanaged, he wants that, that ordinance raised.
That is a totally, but it's a totally different issue. Those are different ordinances, those are different items.
Can I finish what I'm saying?
After I explain this, that
Okay. You got.
what, you know, Mr. Trapnell can't feel like he's being micromanaged when we're simply asking him to provide the county with the information on what his plans are. And the backup that he has spent $25,000 on those plans, so that we have it on record that this is what took place.
Well, he's supposed to give us receipts and invoices anyway, isn't that correct?
But I don't see how you consider that micromanaging. That's just that's
Well,
our
like I said,
fiduciary duty.
I have not been there in the meetings with him and Ed, so, and I know how that goes.
Ken indicated,
Just tell you, Ed don't want us to micromanage him above, at what, mark, $10,000? No different. Mr. Trapnell wants to be able to go out there and take, he has a $25,000 cap. He wants to go put that place in order to where we can sell, it's a bait shop. And he don't want somebody down there every day telling him, question every dollar he does trying to improve the place on that small level. Now, that's no different than what Ed's asking for.
I don't feel like the administrator's asking for his plans or his ideas on what's going to take place down there, and then providing the backup that that's what's been spent, is micromanaging. I think that is administrative. And again, I stick with the contract that I feel like is currently on Trapnell's desk, that anything up to $25,000, he deals through the administrator. Simply providing plans and what his plans are is not being micromanaged. It's no different than we require anybody else on a building permit. So, I'm sticking with the contract that Mr. Trapnell has and will currently sign. But to me, he needs to deal with the administrator up to $25,000.
I say,
That's like the building out at the ball field that went over $43,000. We didn't hear anything about that until it was over with. I still, to this day, don't know
Let's
what
get
that.
this contract out of the way, and then we can get into
Well,
that.
it all pairs together. If you're gonna show favoritism to one, we need to show favoritism to all.
I don't
If we're
understand the
gonna-
favoritism. Where you mean favoritism?
We spent $40,000 out there, Mr. Jeffords approved, and we didn't know anything about it until we got into the budget meeting and Mr. Commissioner Hickox asked a question. So that's what I'm saying. We're looking at $25,000 here that we're micromanaging, but yet we have a budget that we don't control, and I
don't agree that we're micromanaging this request and contract that he provide the administrator information. So, is there any more
Chairman, he has a
discussion?
motion.
I'll call for the vote.
Yeah, I mean, he's made the motion, I got the second.
Any more discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I just add in there that Mr. Trapnell had expressed those concerns about he didn't want to be micromanaged. That's why we went back in there and softened this language to try to take the discretion, I won't say totally out of the administrator's hand, but just to have something there that, you know, if anybody ever questions how much was spent, that we've got something there to back us
don't think he's asking to not turn receipts in.
And I agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why we softened it up, and when I sent this over there to him, like, again, I talked to his assistant, and said, listen, I appreciate the fact that you don't want to be micromanaged, at the same time, we've got to have some type of control there, and I'm not saying absolute control to tell you what to do, but some type of control there, so we know, A, you know, it's not gonna be spent over this level, but B, that, you know, we're kinda getting what we paid for.
And that part's
That
not
was
a problem.
that was the reason we kinda softened the language and sent it back.
He puts the handrail right here, he don't wanna have to worry about, the administrator's gonna say, move the rail over here.
No,
That's kinda like
at the
this.
same time, I mean, I think you wanna make sure that we get the handrail out there that we're paying for. I mean, if he comes out with an invoice that says we got 5 handrails out there and we only have 1 handrail,
I would agree with that, that's obvious, that's accountability. But what, the only part we're talking about is having to get approval, or having to be micromanaged for the small things, like putting the rail in, where it should go. He should have the liberty to be able to do it ADA compliant.
and that's why we put that, that's why we softened the language in here, so that all he has to do is come and say, hey, here's our plans, here's our materials, this is how much it costs in labor. You're good up to $25,000. We didn't put the language in there that the administrator can, you know, cut off any construction or any plans that he's got. It's just really for accountability purposes. And we, again, if he wants the language
He's talking
changed.
turn receipts in, what are y'all saying? He's not talking about not turn receipts in, he's not talking about not answering
I
money.
think it's more so before the fact, like, he don't want, from my understanding from the administrator, and if he was here, I'm not trying to put words in his mouth, but from my conversations with him, it's my understanding, he don't want just receipts brought in after the fact, like, all right.
He wants to go say, yes, that's the one
No,
you do, go ahead, Ralph. you do that.
basically, he wants bids and
Tell me what
proposals
it
brought
is.
in. If Kevin McQuarrie's gonna go out there and do pressure washing and put in stairs or something, he wants Kevin McQuarrie to say, all right, I'm gonna spend X amount of hours in this, on this.
So you saying you're expecting him, before he puts that door in, go ask Ed, is it okay if I put the door here?
No.
He's talking about bringing receipts, and what more you want?
No, what I think the intent is that he provide the county with a plan on what
Okay.
he's gonna do.
So,
And I think we've already given him a plan
Yeah.
to make it ADA compliant, and he knows that that has to be done with that $25,000. We even went and got some estimates, and I just want everybody here to know that, you know, if we end this contract, we've been in negotiations for a year, or ever since I've been here, then we're gonna start all over again.
Well,
And we have to start looking for somebody, and all we're looking for is not for him to be able to get the building ADA compliant with $25,000.
Well, at the end of the
And
day,
I'll
that's,
go along with
that's
that.
out of his
I'll
pocket.
go along with that if he provides a plan to the county building inspector based on what that is.
that's fair enough.
Okay?
Now,
So basically, it's a draw line of what he's gonna do, right?
but up to that $25,000, it still goes through the administrator to be approved before it ever comes back to us.
Because he's probably gonna be more like 35, ain't he?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you wanna call a question and call for a vote, any more discussion? You wanna repeat your motion?
Well, that would, I mean, I can. Do y'all want me to repeat it?
Clarify,
I
yeah.
think I need to clarify.
The motion is that any significant changes be brought before the board instead of being brought before the administrator for approval. And to me, essentially what that's saying is, the things we've already asked him, he's already got approval for them because we gave him the list of ADA compliance that he has to have. I don't think we need to decide who he uses and things like that. He's been a businessman for years, so he's not gonna get the most expensive person, because he has a lot of money tied up in this, and being paid back $250 a month, is what we're waiving that fee until this money is paid back. He'll never get it back if he spends $50,000 or $100,000, so I don't think that's what you want me to read it again?
I think what you need to do is quantify what significant change represents.
Well, you were saying go through the building inspector, I'm good with that.
I'm
I'm talking about quantify a dollar figure on where that significant change goes.
$25,000. We'll go through the building inspector, get it ADA compliant. He goes to the building inspector, make sure that it is ADA and it's a sound structure that we've asked for.
And that's what the building inspector,
That's what it's
Chris,
called.
Chris is more on top of it, because he went out there and looked at it and wrote us the list of things that are done. And I think what he would need to do is go out there and sign off on it, and look at it and make sure that it's still gonna be ADA compliant once he gets through with it.
final say of that 25,000. And I feel like if the building inspector says, yeah, that's good, then the county administrator's gonna have a problem with it. But I still feel like the administrator needs to administrate up to $25,000. But, you know, you make your motion, state your motion, you know exactly what you want. Stop it off and I'll call the question. Again, I ask you to quantify.
Make it clear.
Can you quantify, make it clear.
Well, that's what I was saying. Any significant changes to be brought before the board after the $25,000? The $25,000 has already been approved by us to spend down there. Anything over that, then he would need to bring it before us. And,
Because if he brings us 50,000, we might say no.
that's exactly
And-
right.
and
If he brings us 30,000 and he
He has
doesn't
to-
have but a quarter of the work done, then we've got an issue.
And if it stay within that 25, it has to stay within the guidelines of the building inspector.
And we're talking about a man that's been in business in Wayne County for years and years, so, I mean, he's not in the business of frivolous spending, so I don't think there'll be a problem there. I think the problem he has is, he's been a businessman for years, he's been making decisions for years. He's spending his own money out of his pocket. The $25,000 will come out of his pocket and he won't be reimbursed until the $250 that we waive, that we will be receiving per month for the use down there, is reimbursed to that money.
It's a win for Wayne County if it is done. It makes no sense for us to continue on.
Do you understand the motion, Madam Clerk? Okay. All right. Go on.
Commissioner Hickox?
Yes.
Commissioner Hires?
No.
Commissioner McCreary?
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
No.
Okay, motion carries on 3-2. All right.
Clarify, I think that what we've done here is, overlap situation. I think that in the event that we have to reimburse him his money of $25,000, just like anybody we bid things out, we need to have something to show an itemized list of where that 25 was spent. I'm not telling him how to spend it or what to bill, but just, that's business. That's all it was. I don't think he's trying to micromanage anybody. And I know Mr. Troutman is a shrewd businessman. So I'm not in favor of stripping my county administrator of his power when we expect him to look after the money and to, do things for us.
But then I don't think it's stripping him of his power, because we've already given him the power to spend $25,000.
So in other words, this motion is that he look after the project up to 25,000?
Do what? After.
Is that what,
We will look at it. If he has anything after $25,000, he'll bring it before us and we will take care of it.
that was in the original contract, the original motion?
Well, what I'm talking about is he is free. We've already you give somebody a punch list when they're building something. You don't go through and micromanage. If you hire a contractor,
Nobody said that micromanage,
yeah, it said it in the letter today.
That's what he said.
That's what Ralph said.
All right, gentlemen, let's move on to the next order of business. That one's running behind us. There are other old business. Ms. Hickox, you want to discuss the tourism board contract?
So you know what status is, we voted on it 2 times now to give it to award that to the tourism board. And do we have a signed contract yet, Andy?
My knowledge, no.
Why not? We voted 2 times now to do that.
I submitted the contract to the clerk on June the 4th of this year.
On when?
On June the 4th.
Has it been submitted to the tourism board?
I couldn't tell you, right? I don't follow the once I do it, I pass it
So
on to.
you gave it to the clerk. Ms. Hannah, did y'all submit it to the board?
Ed submitted it to him. I think at the last meeting, Ed spoke to y'all and told y'all that there was a change or something in there. Andy, tell me if I'm correct or wrong. And that there was something that y'all wanted changed in there and that the tourism board did not agree to it.
Why don't we do this?
And that
Why
has
don't we
not
ask
gotten back.
Somebody from the tourism board, when Mr. Jefferson's here and Mr. Beaver's here, either at one of the next meetings or a work session to get it cleared up and see if we're gonna continue on the contract or if that stipulation isn't.
I just like to see us move forward with this project. We vote on, I like to see it happen. You know, we make a decision, we vote on it 2 years ago, we voted on it 6 months ago now, and we voted a couple times on the Jaycee Landing down there. We vote on stuff, it don't happen.
All right, you wanna make a motion that we have a meeting with the tourism board or request a presence in a meeting?
How you wanna do that, work session?
Don't you go to those meetings, they didn't bring it up?
Sir?
Don't you go to the meetings, they didn't bring it up?
What do you want to call a work session with, is that what you're saying?
I'll leave that up to you.
I know we sent a contract to the tourism board, and Mike Lane ran me down at the ball field. He said, hey, I wanna ask you something. I said, what is it? He said, just about this contract right here. He said, we got some stuff here we don't agree to. And I said, well, dude, you're only talking to one man, there's 5 of us. He said, well, I'll get back with y'all. And that's the last I heard.
I've not heard anything from him.
I hadn't heard anything from Mr. Jeffers or anything on getting back with us.
All right.
So we just put it on
If
the
you're not
agenda.
agreeing, that's fine.
November's gonna be pretty crazy.
I'm sorry.
November's gonna be pretty, pretty busy. Let's go. Ms. Hannah, would you reach out to the chairman of the tourism board or either the director and see if we can have a meeting maybe the
Chairman,
first
would
week
y'all
of
mind
December?
if I just go ask them what the holdup is and bring it back to you?
I don't have a problem with that as long as it gets you further than what it got with Mike, and we're gonna come.
I hope so. I just, what is the whole, what's it gonna take to make this happen, or either let's move on and not do it?
I don't have a big problem with that. If you wanna just not make a motion, you wanna handle it that way, then.
Yeah, and I'll bring it back to y'all, whatever they say, we can make a decision, whatever we're gonna do. then I'll-
So put it on the agenda for December meeting.
Well,
You'll come back and report.
I'll come back to that.
Yeah, all right. Okay. Under new business, consider approving the bids for property sales. I think we have, 2 pieces of property up for sale, one on Main Street and one on Robinson Lane.
That was the 2 properties that were up for bid. So it's my understanding that the South Macon Street property, which is address 362 South Macon Street, it's my understanding that the clerk and the chairman unseal those bids this afternoon.
Chris Rock. We move on. Okay, good.
My understanding on 362 South Macon Street, the minimum bid was $5,400. There was 4 bids on that property. We had 2 bids at $10,000 and 1 bid at $7,070.80 and 1 bid at $7,000. So 4 bids total. There's a tie at the top with the 2 $10,000 bids. Those bidders were Mr. Timothy Sloan and then also Mr. Danny Sullivan and Alex Reddish, who bid $10,000 on that property. They were both the high bidders there.
What do you propose?
My suggestion would be to, since both of them had the same exact bid, all the bids, from my understanding, looked good and there wasn't anything missing out of them, is maybe have the clerk reach out to them and have them submit another sealed bid for highest and best offer between those 2. And maybe have it unsealed. I mean, again, we don't have to, from my understanding, from reading the code section, we don't have to advertise it in the paper anymore for this property. But reach out to them and tell them to submit their highest and best offer and unseal it the day of the meeting, because y'all still need to vote on it. And whoever is the highest one at that point will award them the property. That would be my suggestion.
Mr. Beaver was in it, that they had a certain amount of time to get it safe again.
Yeah, we had included in there that they had 60 days from the time that they purchased the property to get it up to code with all city, state, federal, and county building codes and ordinances. So,
That might be a step to get the code, because if we're in the middle of construction, my main thing's about it being safe right now.
But
it's
look,
not.
again, the city would have the ability, they could go in there and condemn the property if they needed to. They have ordinances on the book, and that property is located in the city. So that's why we kind of put that language in there without, again, trying to, say what all needed to happen, but again, the city has a process.
So it puts it in the city's building inspector's hands, basically.
Right.
Okay.
And again, that's something that the citizens could that would be in compliance with the city ordinance, and that's why we kind of worded it within 60 days, you must bring it up to code there, so that was part of the contract
Sounds good.
on that property.
Says, I'll entertain a motion that we allow the clerk to reach out to the two highest bidders and request a highest best offer.
I'll make the
to
motion,
reopen,
Chairman.
be reopened. All right. Motion second, any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner McCreary,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Hickox,
Yes.
Commissioner Hires.
Yes. And, on the Robinson property?
Yeah, on the Robinson property, we didn't have any bids on that. The bid amount that y'all had set was $6,500, so we didn't have any bids on that. I will say that I had a couple of people reach out to me and say that the roof had completely collapsed over the kitchen. I hadn't been out to the property, I don't know if any of y'all.
Where's that one at?
Huh?
Where's that one at?
To be honest with you, I'm not.
What's the address?
It's Robinson Lane.
It's 668 Robinson Lane. It's parcel number J7-13. And I will also say that our tax commissioner reached out to me, and there was an error with the parcel number on that and messed up the legal description, so we, probably for the best that nobody did on it, but we can get all that corrected. And I think on something that the administrator gotten from either the assessor or the commissioner had the wrong map and parcel on it, so we can get that corrected. But the biggest thing is, I just need to know if y'all want to rebid that one, keep the minimum bid the same on it, with no bids even being produced to the county.
If we have no bids of that, I mean, is leaving it gonna, you think we'll get a bid now?
I guess that's the $1 million question there, $6,500 question. I'm not,
Why don't you put it open, and let it just,
no reserve on it.
yeah, no reserve and see what you get. We can always turn that
I
down.
think the reason that he had set the bid with that is because that's what the county had lost in back taxes and doing the foreclosure process. I could be wrong on that. Again, we can move forward anyway.
Robertson Road?
Robinson.
Robinson Lane.
Yes.
Lane.
Map
That's
of
all
parcel,
those before, good.
map of parcel J7-13.
See,
I think I saw 4th Street, extension, I believe.
Robinson Drive?
Robinson Drive.
Robinson Lane.
That's the thing that, you said what it said, we lost money on it. You're not gonna recover none, keeping it in our inventory either.
Yeah, the roof is partially falling in, yeah.
I mean, it's up to y'all. We can,
At least if they got it, they would be, we don't have to tear it down or
And
board
your
it up
district,
or whatever
Mr.
to
Thomas?
keep somebody from
Is
getting
that
hurt.
Is that in your district?
Yeah, that's in my district. I mean, whatever we do to get it back on tax, but that's what we need to do.
All right, I'll entertain a motion that we lower bids if one of you want to pick a number.
I say take reserve off, just let them bring, sometimes you get their price by taking reserve off.
You want to at least make it for what our legal fees were for the foreclosure? Which is
I
what?
said what I thought, but I mean,
I think it's right at $1,200 is what she has.
Did anybody ask what the minimum bid was?
I don't know if anybody ever came by and picked up a packet. Like I said, all I know is what people commented to me, and I know that a couple people went by there to look at it, and that was what they told me was that the roof was collapsed. So I don't know, maybe Ms. Hannah can tell, did anybody come by and pick up a packet?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
And if you don't have a problem with it, I'm gonna make a motion that we rebid it with the correct map and parcel number, with a reserve of our legal fees.
I don't have a problem, I just want to get it off
Can we
off
just
our
go ahead and
inventory.
set an amount instead of discretionary? Go ahead and say $1,200 or $1,500.
I'll say $1,300, that'll split the difference.
Yeah.
So, my motion will be that, my motion will be that we rebid the Robinson Drive property with a reserve bid of $1,300 in the correct map and parcel. And how long, in my motion, I'll also make it that we open those bids in the regular December meeting.
Second.
The motion is second, any discussion?
The houses in the area that in the Robinson Drive are in good shape, and that's the only one that's been left vacant for a number of years. And I think anybody that gets that property, they gotta put a little work to maybe fix the roof or take the whole thing out, but once they fix it out, the property's gonna have value.
Okay, Madam Clerk, would you please call roll?
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Hickox,
Yes,
Commissioner Hires,
Yes.
Commissioner McCreary.
Yes.
Yeah, we have two more properties that the administrator was gonna propose, go ahead and list them and open up for bids. The first one was the property address, 381 North Whaley Street. It's got a map and parcel J14-41. I'm not sure how he came up with the minimum bid there. I think it was probably in conjunction with the tax commissioner and talking to her how much we've kind of lost in tax revenue, and how much we've had in the foreclosure process. But they're asking for a minimum bid of that one of $2,600.
That's covered with legal, I assume, right?
Again, that was a number that the administrator came up with. I can't be sure. My speculation is yes. And it looks like it looks like, and I'm not sure if there's a dwelling or, any type of structure on this. It looks like the tax amounts for 12 through or 13 through 17 were about $130 a year. So in my mind, that tells me there's probably not a structure on that. I can't be sure about that.
All right, go do them one at a time.
Yeah.
All right,
Or I
I'll
can
entertain a
do both
motion.
of them if you want to.
I'll entertain a motion that we consider the sale of the Whaley Street property with a minimum or reserve bid of $2,600. And do we, I'm gonna go ahead and get the discussion. Do we need to put that cost on there that they have to have it presentable? Or does anybody know the condition of the property?
Honestly, I think all of them, including the one you had, I think they all should say that, because the last thing, we're gonna turn a property over and let somebody sit on it, Wayne County owns it, and it's caving in, it becomes a place for drug infestation and everything else, and we're not gonna at least put it into whoever buys it has to at least make a statement. I think that should be a standard.
Okay,
Is that what you're asking?
yes, but we'll go ahead and pass that, but I think 60 days, like you said, 60 days is really tight to bring a dilapidated property up to rentable condition. So, I'll tell you what, I will restate my motion, and I will put in there within 90 days, or 120, whatever what you think.
I'm good with 120, but something like that one, he's got some, take some
Yeah, it's
time.
gonna take some time.
Yeah.
All right, then, I'm gonna read that motion that we accept a reserve bid of $2,600 on the Whaley Street property with the understanding that the new owner has 120 days to bring it up to building code standards.
Second.
Got a second? Any more discussion?
I know we had one that I think Mr. Hickok, Commissioner Hickox had that, had to be boarded up.
Yeah.
Do we need to put any stipulations in there, like the one with the roof falling down? Or once we sell it, it's not our, just so
Well,
for
the one
safety
he was talking
board?
about was the one
Yeah.
that is the 362 Maple Street.
What about the one
So-
with the,
No,
is that
I think-
stipulation yours?
Do what now?
I saw the one we just passed on in the news district, you don't want that on yours as well? Or they have to, I don't think we passed that either.
We don't actually have to put that in we don't have to vote on that part. He can just present that in the packet that they pick up, that's one of the obligations.
Okay, good.
And of course, when you have this vacant land there, it's not gonna.
If it's on this side of the chair, it's in my district too.
All right,
It's
Madam
gotta be a
Clerk.
standard. It needs to be a standard for the selling.
All right, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Hickox?
Yes.
Commissioner Hires?
Yes.
Commissioner McCreary?
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts?
Yes.
And then finally, we got the last property is on 503 Southwick Street. Map and parcel J7-117. Looks like they're asking for a reserve price of about $8,500 on that one. And the taxes on that one was quite high, it looked like it was about $703 a year before the county acquires the property. But it probably is a structure on that one, I can't be sure, I don't know the acreage or anything on it at this point, just based on what notice I'm looking at from the administrator here. So,
What street was that on?
Southwick, Southwick.
It's $700 a year, I bet it's got structure in it.
What's that?
If it's $700 a year, I bet it has some kind of structure in it.
And we have interest in that property. Somebody's called me on that, that's interested.
It's good, better than solar, we had said,
price y'all recommend?
It looks like they recommend a minimum of $8,500.
Is there?
And $700 are the taxes.
No, that was $700 a year worth of yearly taxes. It looks like they were back about. Looks like they were back about $7,000, and you probably had around $1,500 legal fees somewhere along there, somewhere.
Quite a few years behind. I'm fine with $8,500.
Will entertain a motion then?
I make a motion.
Second.
All right, any discussion? Okay, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Hickox?
Yes.
Commissioner Hires?
Yes.
Commissioner McCreary?
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Okay, item C is consider approved purchasing policy. Mr. Beaver, you prepared this one, you can table it.
I'm prepared. I've been in communications with the administrator who's kind of gave me some guidelines of what he wanted to see in a purchasing policy. I've got a very, I say loose draft of it, nothing finalized or anything. I've sent it to him. He was gonna review it and get back to me. Of course, he's been in the hospital the past couple of days and hadn't sent it back to me. It's probably one of these scenarios that's very situated. He's here to discuss it. But we do have one that y'all asked to prepare one for this month, so we do have one. I just, it's probably, like I said, it's probably better suited if we wait till next month to present it.
Mr. Speaker, we already have a works in place, why are we not just amending the dollar amount that the complaint is about? Because we already have the verbiage and everything there. The only issue I understood was the amount of money, right?
Well, I think there's some other things that he wanted changed in there, but
Sure.
again, I've got a draft I can send y'all, but again, he hadn't looked at it and sent me changes back on that,
I
so.
don't be a dead horse here, but he wrote the first one, what's wrong with it?
Need a motion to table it?
Yeah, we'll do that.
Motion to table.
I'll second the motion table. Discussion?
They're gonna send us a copy, I guess, once you get through talking to Mr. Jeffrey, so we see what.
That would be my anticipation. I think he was hoping to have it for discussion at the work session tonight. Of course, he's not here, so that kind of got waylaid there, but I imagine he'll probably want to get it to y'all, bring it up for discussion at the next work session for December's meeting.
Madam Clerk, call it.
Commissioner Hires?
Yes.
Commissioner McCreary?
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Hickox?
Yes.
Next item is to consider approving the boat races at Lake Grace.
Thought we already approved the boat races.
What's the date on them?
This is
Madam
actually
Clerk?
it's April the 2nd through the 5th of 2020.
2020?
Yes.
I think they.
I know on this, he's got 2019, but it's for 2020, but he's trying to go ahead and get it on the calendar and
Can we discuss it in a minute?
well in advance.
I got a couple questions about it, in my mind. I've had people call me about that. One is, do they rent it? Two, do people pay to camp out there because there's a campground not far from those, feels like that's taken away from them. It closes the park, a lot of times in the holiday, and I'm not against it. I mean, you've both been out there, and
Right.
it's a good thing, when it comes to town, it is the economic impact. I think we're not taking full advantage of that fact. But the question I get asked is, which is going, the citizens are not allowed to camp out there, but yet we allow them to camp out there, and I understand we don't charge them to use the facility. It's just, those questions I would like to see us address.
Okay, how would you feel about having the director of the tourism board, they're the ones that actually promote this, come for us and answer those questions on the rent stuff, and also, it might give a chance for some of the people that are against it to reach out to us and say.
I
this is
personally
what
think,
it is.
me and you were out there, I personally think that if you had we talked, if you had a festival out there in conjunction with it, it would be your entertainment, you wouldn't need to charge. It would actually be a very positive event for the county. If anybody's not been out there, there's a pile of people out there, and it's interesting.
It's a crowd draw.
Yeah.
Well, you wanna consider doing that, then have Ms. Altman maybe answer those questions, even if she doesn't have to come here formally and answer, we can reach out to her and get
Well,
an answer.
actually, renting of it will go through the rec department.
Do we rent it now? Do we charge them now?
That's the questions I will answer. I don't think,
And I don't think so, but that would be going through, Christy Lamb at the rec department.
The thing I hear is we don't rent it, but yet we close it off and restrict the public from it. We don't we don't let them camp, but we let these people camp. That might be fine if it's a public event, like I said, like a festival, something like that. I'm already talking to the tourism board. Now, you got to mention that.
all right, that's fine. We will get the answers to their question.
What?
It'd be a good plug for us to get some campground spots out there.
Yeah, it would be.
And Chris has already got them drawn up. They're in the wrong place, but he's got them drawn up. So, yeah.
All right,
I don't
so,
want to kill the event, that's not what I'm saying at all. It's a good thing, but the questions they're asking are legitimate.
all right, so what you say, we entertain a motion to table the approval of the boat races until we get some questions answered by the tourism board and the rec department, and maybe some public input.
Yeah.
So you want to put it on the December agenda?
Yeah, when I talk to them about the other issue, I'll talk to them about that, if that's okay with y'all.
You want to make that in form of a motion?
We most move it to we table to the next meeting, and in the meantime, that I'll go speak with the tourism board about the possibility of expanding the event, and I'll go ahead and talk to the rec department, find out how we rent it to them, what the process is, so we can get.
All right. Second. Okay, motion second, any more discussion? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner McCreary,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Hickox,
Yes.
Commissioner Hires.
Yes. Okay, under appointments,
You
Mr. Peacock.
got 11E that you added, the roll on.
Truck.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Forgot the whole thing. Okay. From what I can understand, what I've learned today, the city and the county jointly own a roll-off truck that is used to remove debris from the convenience center to Broadhurst Landing. And the way I understand it works, it began to work was when the recycling center was open, and there were numerous tubs of materials that couldn't be recycled but were garbage, whether it be construction demolition or couches or chairs or whatever. The county and the city entered an agreement that the county would haul these items to the landfill and provide a driver. The truck that the county and city currently own together is past the point of any more repairs. Anything we do to it from this point out would be throwing good money after that. So that truck has been taken off the road. The city reached out to me today about the county looking into purchasing another truck, and they would split the cost with us. All this has happened very rapidly, and we, first of all, do have a need to remove the debris by way of the roll-off tubs to the landfill. But I don't know if, since the recycling center is only open 2 or 3 days a week now, if we have the number of tubs to carry down there, that would warrant us purchasing a vehicle at the county's share of possibly $45,000 to $75,000. So I just want to bring this to your attention. I'm not asking for any action other than letting you know we do have the need to have tubs removed from there.
Who's Republic charge to turn that?
I don't know, and I've reached out to Republic to see what it would cost us if we contracted with them to move those tubs for us. But I feel like if we do that, we also need to give the other local hauling company an opportunity to at least haul as many as Republic does, split it right now under the circumstances, or put it out for bids.
Is the reason why the truck was our driver was because we don't get charged? Is that the reason it was that way?
I think originally that was the way it was set up. I don't know that that's the case now since we're under the contract we're under. Those
I'm
answers.
just wondering if you do contract with Republic, are we going to be charged for the?
That's something we'll have to check in. But regardless, right now, we do have a need to have tubs removed. So I guess maybe I am gonna ask for some action, and that be that, we reach out to Republic and Mr. Jones's, I can't remember the name of the company, Mr. Jones's roll-off company, for an interim, on an interim basis to keep us caught up and look into the true numbers of whether it's feasible to buy a truck or if we just need a contract.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to see us reach out to Republic and another company. If we have to haul 3 roll-offs a week or whatever it is, Republic, the other company, what would a price on what they're gonna charge, and we take the best price?
He's charged me, I think, a little over $100 a turn, but that was with me paying for my debris. That was
But
$150 a turn, wasn't
Also, but you don't own that tub, right?
it? No.
Okay, see, in this instance, I also don't know whether the city and the county own the tubs together. If the city owns it, there might be a lesser charge if one of these operators is removing a tub that is not owned by them. They're just hauling it, a tub that's owned by somebody else. So there's a lot of questions I've got to get answered there, but, I guess I'll entertain a motion, if you don't mind, or either I'll make a motion to reach out, either authorize the administrative clerk to reach out to both Republic and the Jones Company to get a quote on what it would take to haul the tubs, ascertain if the tubs belong to us, and then also ascertain from the city a number of hauls that it would take.
So do that temporarily, postpone the decision until next month for permanent?
Definitely postpone the decision on personage, because we haven't gone for bids on a truck. We just did I had Timmy Martin get online and check some truck prices that would match the truck that we are scrapping, and it would be a used truck, needless to say. But, yes, so if my motion's clear enough, okay.
So we're gonna go ahead and, whichever one's the lowest bid, we're gonna go ahead and go with them, so trash doesn't get backed up.
Yeah, either that or we will provide, as far as I know, those are the only 2 operators that are local. If we provided them equal hauls to make it fair, in the interim, or if we must go and get some bids. All right. Then my motion shall state that we will bid.
I second.
All right, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Hickox,
Yes.
Commissioner Hires,
Yes.
Commissioner McCreary.
Yes.
So bottom line is, we will not have the tubs backing up at the convenience center and causing an issue.
If possible.
There's no telling how much money that saves us in the county road department having to go out and pick up couches and TVs and so forth.
This might be more economical for us in the first place, to buy another truck, so we need.
Possible.
All right, the next item is Hospital Authority District. Mr. Pat Perry's, term on the Hospital Authority expired in June, and we tabled that decision. Mr. Hickox, do you have some names yet?
I got one, I'm having trouble finding the second name, it's pretty obvious.
He said he had 2 this.
Well, I got these 2 right here to do, but it's pretty obvious who they want on the board, and he's done a good job, Pat's done a great job. So trying to find someone to be the sacrificial lamb for the other 2, not too many for
You need a second on these 2?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
They're both shaking their head.
I'll find somebody that can put their name in for
Well,
next week.
if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Perry is continuing to serve in that capacity.
He is, and
not.
he's doing a good job. That's part of the problem is he's doing a good job, and whoever they're not gonna get it.
And just for the sake of knowing, we're required by law to present 3 names to the Hospital Authority. The Hospital Authority then chooses from
Yes.
those 3 names someone to serve in that capacity on the board. We are bound to provide 3 names, and it is often, it was that case with my appointment, it's hard to find someone when someone's already serving.
Yeah, when you know the person is there doing a good job,
So you want to table this again to the
I
December
will
meeting?
find somebody to do that.
All right.
No, it's already tabled.
Okay, under items with the administrator, I've asked the clerk to go over the financial report.
I've got 2 thank you notes that I want to read first, though. Thank you so much for the lovely floral arrangement. We greatly appreciate your thoughtfulness and consideration during this difficult time. The family of Annie Thomas. And then we received another one, in appreciation for all the kindness you have shown. We thank you very much for sympathy in sorrowing days, for friendship's healing touch. With gratitude, our hearts are full. through words cannot convey the tender thoughts and thankfulness we hold for you today, the family of James Boykin. And we sent floral arrangements to both of those. All right, the fund balance as of October the 31st, 2019, general fund, the end of September bank balance was $585,608.84. The deposits were $3,568,361.51. October expenditures, it says September, but it's October expenditures, is $2,207,222.65, with the end of month balance is $1,946,747.70. The TANs borrowed year to date is $3,450,000. Lost treasury account is $2,144,769.61. SPLOST 3 is $345,843.55. SPLOST 4 is $1,835,238.01. GEO bond account is $3,245,427.46. T-SPLOST $1,366,791.19.
So nothing borrowed from the TAN.
No, not this month. We actually got our insurance premium tax in that we get in October the 15th. We got that in October the 15th, and it was $1,287,047.48.
Ma'am, the collection's coming in now. Do you foresee in the next, for here in a minute here, need to go back into the 10 again, or are we gonna be all right?
No, I think we're gonna be all right.
So we're gonna final out at 3.3 looks like?
3,450, yeah.
3.4.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know that, the TANs, we did send out the TANs bid again. Ed did the same amount. Sent those out. They're due back, I think, November the 8th.
Who all to send them out to?
All the local banks that we did the last year.
Do we get a cheaper interest rate if it's lower? Because I think we did it for 6.6 million last year. Is that correct?
I don't think it's a cheaper rate to do less.
And we did the same thing where we just, it's not, we don't get the money right up front, we just,
If I'm not mistaken, the only way we get a cheaper
Line of
interest
credit.
rate is if we commit and go ahead and borrow all of it at one time and put it in our
Yeah.
account. And then we pay a lower interest rate, but we pay more interest on money we're not gonna use.
Is it variable, like the more you borrow, the lower it goes down, or is it?
Not sure about that, I'm not gonna answer that question.
I don't think it is, is it? Yeah, I think it's fixed, yes.
Okay, items with commissioners, Ms. T. Cox.
Pretty much the same thing we're talking about. I'd like to see us put a stake in these two random things that go on way too long. So hopefully we can, the next meeting, we can put both of them to rest. Oh, and Elton, thanks for taking care of Ski Lake for me out there.
Commissioner Roberts.
Same thing, I'm with Ralph. I wanna see us get something going at Jaycee Landing. I mean, I get bombed all over town when I'm out. Ain't that your district? Yeah, well, dang, your bathrooms ain't this, that, and other. I mean, it's all the time. I go out there on a regular basis.
I got mad with you yesterday because I couldn't find any minutes to go out first.
Well, I go get bait from Nixon, so I get plenty of bait when I need it, but it ain't out there.
Mr. Thomas?
I want to give these two gentlemen here all the props because they do a fantastic job for us. And I ride all over the state, in different places, doing things with ACCG, and by far we have some of the best roads up in the county. So they're doing a fantastic job.
I'll have to get over that.
At the Region Commission meeting last week, went over the unemployment rate for the state of August, and the Georgia state unemployment rate is 3.7. Wayne County right now is 4.4. Surrounding counties, Appleton is 4.5. Franklin County is 4.3, Glenn is 3.4. June is 5.2, and Montgomery is 5.7. These are companies that are losing industry, so they're up, but we're holding our own right now. Also, the workforce investment report was that we are, WIO, we're training right now 51 individuals on the Training Act in Wayne County. We're training 5 dislocated workers. We have 1 adult that's on the job training, which the WIA paid for, Region Commission. And as of right now, we have 23 youth that are working year-round that we are helping to get a little extra spending money, stay in school. Business services, we have 3. Job fairs, we've had none so far, but the total visits to the one-stop is 147. And so far this year, we've serviced a total of 279 people. A total of both things in Wayne County has been 359. A little information on Wayne Transit by far, and these are the numbers, and you guys need to see it, of all the 17 counties in Region 9 and Region Commission. Wayne County use our transit probably more than anybody. As of last month, our total trips for Wayne County was 6,635. So we use it.
It's an area where you service out in
Chairman, that's something, I understand we had one of our ambulance getting an accident. Did that get taken care of, replaced?
The ambulance was not damaged enough to even be taken off the road.
Okay, that's.
Yeah, it went on to Savannah.
And if you guys want to see the TIA distribution on how much has been collected up to date and everything, I have these figures. It's a lot of figures, and you're welcome to look at them.
Thank you.
I want to thank everybody for showing up tonight. It means a lot to have support. And those who are watching on Facebook and TV, it means a lot to have support, whether at least we get input from the public on what needs to be done, and we try to do our best to get what we need to, what they want to get done. Glad Miss Elton's back. I love the road crew because I get a lot of heat. I think 99.9% of my roads are dirt. And with the bad weather, but y'all really get on them and get them taken care of and respond back to me that they've been taken care of, and I appreciate that.
Well, Ditto, Commissioner McCrary, welcome y'all. Thank you for coming and participating. One of the things I want to mention is Day for Wayne, Thursday at Clanton Ranch. It's a yearly get-together we have. We invite state representatives and senators. I think this year the governor has made arrangements to be there. You can show up around 11. Lunch is usually around 12:30 or 1. It's a day of enjoying outdoors and what a Wayne County farm actually looks like and consists of. After Day for Wayne, the public's been invited to an ambassador program at the depot where our representatives, Bill Workheiser and Stephen Meeks, will be with State Senator Blake Tillery and the governor as well. It's really a rare opportunity that we get a governor down here for more than once in a great while. And Governor Kent was committed to help rural Georgia during his campaign, and I think he's trying his best to follow up on that promise. So from 3 to 4, if you want to see the governor, be at the depot or at Day for Wayne, probably from around 1 to 2. And also, what's another orientation thing I got? Maybe we'll.
That's just doing all
Public
that,
appearances.
same, yeah.
And I'd like for you to keep our administrator in your prayers. Hopefully he'll be back with us later on this week. And that's pretty much it. That's all I had to cover, and I'll take the motion to adjourn.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.